During my daughter's graduation dinner, she announced, "You contributed nothing. Stop pretending you deserve to be here." I smiled politely. Next morning, she found her college fund emptied with just a note. "Earn it yourself." 75 desperate calls, still unanswered. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the awards and support. To answer the most common questions. 1. Yes, this is all true, though I changed some names, just details for privacy. 2. No, I'm not looking to reconcile with my ex. That bridge is burned. 3. Yes, I'll update after Lexi's first day at the warehouse tomorrow. 4. For those asking about legal action. I've thought about it, but right now I'm focused on rebuilding what's left of my relationship with my daughter. Hey Reddit throwaway for obvious reasons. This is long, and I'm not a writer, but I needed to get this off my chest. Just finished the most cathartic 48 hours of my life after 20 years of being a doormat. I never thought I'd be writing this story on Reddit, but here I am. I'm 47, work as a machinist at a manufacturing plant outside Detroit, where I've been busting my ass for 15 years now. Before the divorce, I was a project manager at a construction company, making decent money. After Jenna left me, I had to take whatever I could get that paid the bills and her ridiculous support demands. My life ain't glamorous. I live in a small 2-bedroom house I rent from my buddy Tommy, who gave me a deal after the divorce cleaned me out. It's nothing special, but it's mine. Well, technically Tommy's, but you know what I mean. I drive a 2009 Ford F-150 with 215,000 miles on it that makes this weird clicking sound when I turn left, but I can't afford to fix it or replace it right now. The mechanic says it'll cost $1,200 to fix it properly. And that's $1,200 I don't have, because every spare penny has been going to my daughter. My house is sparsely furnished. A second-hand couch I got from Goodwill, a kitchen table with 3 matching chairs, and 1 folding chair for when Mike comes over, and a bed that's been sagging in the middle for at least 4 years. I've been saying I'll replace it next month for about 3 years now. The TV is a 42-inch I got on Black Friday 6 years ago, and my coffee table is actually an old wooden cable spool that I sanded down and stained. Not because I'm into that rustic Pinterest look, but because it was free. So last Thursday, I'm sitting in this pretentious steakhouse where the cheapest appetizer costs more than what I spend on groceries for a week. It's dim enough that everyone looks airbrushed, and there's a goddamn harpist playing in the corner. I'm wearing the only suit I own, charcoal gray from Men's Warehouse that I bought for my sister's wedding 6 years ago. Still has a small stain on the lapel from when my nephew spilled punch on me. The pants are a little tight now. Working nights and weekends doesn't leave much time for exercise, but it's all I've got. I'm only here because my daughter Lexi is graduating from her MBA program. She's 24 now. Haven't properly talked to her in about 3 years, but I got an invitation in the mail. Figured it was maybe a peace offering or something. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Lexi looked like $1,000,000 in this blue designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Her boyfriend, correction, fiancé Tyler, is this tech bro type with a $300 haircut and a watch that screams, "My daddy bought this for me." Never worked a real day in his life, but has the nerve to talk about hustle culture. Then there's Jenna, the ex, with her new husband Richard, some finance guy who's about 15 years older than her, with carefully manicured nails and the kind of tan that comes from vacation homes, not actual work. My brother Mike was there too. The only reason I didn't feel completely out of place. He's a good dude, works as an electrician, and has always had my back through all this shit. Mike's the kind of guy who calls bullshit when he sees it, which is probably why Jenna always hated him. Even now, 15 years after the divorce, she gives him this tight smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I knew something was off the moment I walked in. Jenna gave me this look like I was something she'd stepped in. Lexi barely acknowledged me with this half-hearted hug that lasted all of 2 seconds. Richard at least had the decency to shake my hand properly, though the way he looked at my suit made it clear he was calculating exactly how much more his outfit cost. Mike whispered to me as we took our seats, "You good, bro?" I just nodded. What else could I do? Walk out? That would just confirm everything Jenna had been telling Lexi about me for years. The waiter handed me a menu without prices. I had to ask for one with prices, which made Tyler snicker. When I saw them, my stomach dropped. The cheapest steak was $65. I was mentally calculating how many hours of overtime I'd need to work to cover this dinner. The conversation started with Tyler talking about his startup that was disrupting the sustainable energy space, or some buzzword bullshit. Richard nodded along, occasionally dropping names of venture capitalists I was supposed to be impressed by. Jenna kept touching Lexi's hand, saying things like, "We're just so proud," and All those late nights helping with applications really paid off. I sat quietly, trying to find my opening to connect with my daughter. So, what are your plans after graduation? I finally asked during a lull. Oh, she's already got 3 offers. Jenna jumped in before Lexi could answer. Top firms. We've been discussing which one makes the most sense strategically. I was asking Lexi, I said, trying to keep my tone even. Lexi glanced at her mother before answering. I'm leaning toward Deloitte. Their corporate culture aligns with my values. What values are those? I asked, genuinely curious. She seemed surprised by the question, like no one had ever asked her that before. But before she could answer, the waiter arrived with the first course, and the moment was lost. The waiter brings out the champagne, not the cheap stuff either. I'm doing mental math in my head about how many hours I'd have to work to afford this dinner as they're pouring it into these delicate glasses that I'm terrified to hold with my calloused hands. I notice Richard checking his phone under the table, typing furiously with his thumbs. Probably some important business deal that can't wait. Jenna keeps throwing little comments my way, asking if I've been keeping up with my hobby. She knows damn well I haven't had time for woodworking since the divorce because I'm too busy working 3 jobs to pay for Lexi's education. But she asks anyway, watching me squirm. Mike talks to me about the Lions season, keeping the conversation light. He knows I'm uncomfortable, trying to give me something normal to hold on to. Tyler's talking about the vacation he and Lexi are planning to Bali next month. A much-needed break after all her hard work. I haven't had a vacation in years, but I just smile and nod. Then Lexi stands up, this practiced smile on her face. She's got her mom's features, but with this coldness I don't recognize. She holds up her glass, and the table goes quiet. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight to celebrate this achievement, she starts, voice all polished and proper. These last 2 years have been challenging but incredible. I couldn't have done it without Mom and Richard's constant support and guidance. She goes on to thank her professors, her friends, even her fucking yoga instructor. I sit there patiently, waiting for my small acknowledgement. Even just a "thanks for coming, Dad" would have been enough. Professor Jenkins really believed in my thesis when I was struggling with the methodology, she continues. And my study group, Alyssa, Mark, and Priya, you guys made those all-nighters bearable with your humor and brilliance. She thanks her undergraduate advisor, her high school guidance counselor, her childhood piano teacher for instilling discipline, and even the barista at her favorite coffee shop for keeping me caffeinated through finals. Every name is like a tiny needle in my heart, because I know what's coming, or rather, what isn't coming. Then she looks directly at me and something in her eyes changes. And Dad, well, you showed up tonight. I guess that counts for something. The table gets awkwardly quiet. Mike shifts uncomfortably next to me. But let's be honest, she continues with this little smirk on her face. You weren't there when I needed braces. You weren't there when I needed help with college applications. You didn't help me move into my dorm or apartment. You weren't there when I had my appendix out sophomore year. You missed every important milestone. So you don't get to show up now for the graduation dinner and pretend you contributed anything to my success. I'm just sitting there, completely blindsided. Mike's hand grips my shoulder tight. Mom and Richard paid for my education. They supported me. They believed in me. They're the reason I'm here, she continues, raising her glass to them. To the parents who actually stepped up. Jenna has this smug smile on her face. Richard looks uncomfortable but doesn't say shit. My brother Mike starts to stand up, but I put my hand on his arm to stop him. This isn't his fight. As everyone awkwardly raises their glasses, I catch Tyler giving me this look of pity mixed with disgust. Even the waiter seems uncomfortable. I've never felt smaller in my life, but something else was happening too. Something inside me that had been bending for 20 years was finally reaching its breaking point. I think about all the double shifts, the weekends lost to side gigs, the payday loans with criminal interest rates, the times I ate ramen for a week straight so I could send extra money for her study abroad, incidentals. The secondhand winter coat I'm still wearing while she posts Instagram photos in new outfits every week. What Lexi doesn't know, what Jenna made damn sure she never knew, is that I've been breaking my back to pay for her life since she was 4. After the divorce, Jenna got primary custody because I was working 60-hour weeks trying to keep us afloat. The judge didn't care that I was working those hours to provide for my family. He just saw a mom who was present and a dad who prioritized work over family time. At first, the arrangement was fair enough. I'd get Lexi every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. But gradually, those visits got harder to maintain. Jenna would call last minute saying Lexi had a birthday party, or wasn't feeling well, or had a school project due. Pretty soon, my time with my daughter shrank to a few hours here and there. When I complained, Jenna would say, "She's a child, Mark. She needs stability." not a father who only shows up when it's convenient for him. When Lexi was 10, Jenna enrolled her in this fancy private school that cost $28,000 a year. Didn't consult me, just did it. Then called me saying, if you want what's best for Lexi, you'll help make this happen. So I picked up weekend shifts at a warehouse, pawned my dad's watch, and sold my motorcycle to make the first semester's payment. Every semester after that was the same struggle. I'd skip meals, cancel my internet for months at a time, even did medical testing trials for extra cash. Once spent 2 weeks testing some new allergy medication that made me break out in hives, but it paid $2,200 that went straight to Lexi's tuition. I remember one time Lexi was about 12. She called me crying because Jenna had told her she couldn't go on a school trip to Washington, D.C. because money was tight. The trip cost $1,800. I had just paid $4,000 toward her tuition that month and had exactly $327 in my checking account. I called my credit union, took out a personal loan at 14% interest, and sent Jenna the money that day. When Lexi posted photos from the trip on Facebook, she tagged Jenna. Thanks for making it happen, Mom. Best trip ever. When college applications came around, Lexi got into Northwestern. $78,000 a year all in. Jenna calls me saying, she got in. Can you believe it? We're so proud. That we stung because I wasn't included in any of the college visits or application process. Then came the kicker. The financial aid package isn't great. Richard and I can handle about half, but we thought you'd want to contribute what you can. What I could contribute was everything I had. I refinanced my truck. I took out a personal loan at 18% interest. I started driving Uber on nights and weekends. I rented out my spare bedroom to a guy who works night shift so we barely see each other. I did all of this without complaint because that's what dads are supposed to do, right? And the whole time, Lexi believed she was on scholarships and that Jenna and Richard were covering the rest. Even posted on Instagram once. So grateful to Mom and Richard for making my dreams possible, with a photo of her Northwestern acceptance letter. Meanwhile, I'd drive an hour each way to campus sometimes, just to catch a glimpse of her walking between classes. I'd sit in my truck across from her dorm, not in a creepy way, just hoping to maybe run into her, maybe grab a coffee, hear about her classes. But whenever I'd text her asking if she had time to meet, she was always swamped with homework or heading to a study group. My brother Mike was the only one who knew the truth. You're being played, bro, he'd tell me. One day you gotta stand up for yourself. But I always thought Lexi would figure it out eventually, that she'd see through Jenna's bullshit and realize who was really there for her. The worst part was the gaslighting. Whenever I'd try to see Lexi, for her birthday, for Christmas, for anything, Jenna would say Lexi was too busy or had plans. He swore she'd schedule things at the last minute when she knew I was working. And then she'd tell Lexi I chose not to come. I have a box of birthday cards in my closet. Cards I bought but never got to give her because Jenna would tell me, oh, we already celebrated last weekend. Or, she's at a sleepover with friends, maybe next year. I'd still mail them, but I don't know if Lexi ever got them. Never mentioned them anyway. Lexi's high school graduation? Jenna forgot to tell me the correct time. I showed up as everyone was leaving. College parents' weekend? Got the email invitation the day after it happened. Must have been caught in my spam folder, Jenna said with fake sympathy. By the time Lexi was in college, she barely returned my calls. When she did, it was always short conversations. Sorry, Dad, I've got to go study. Or, Mom and I are about to have dinner. I'd see photos on Facebook of her at home with Jenna and Richard during breaks, while I was told she's staying at a friend's place for the holidays. The years of subtle poisoning had done their work. I was just the stranger who sent birthday cards with $50 inside, a wallet with legs. A necessary evil to be tolerated occasionally. What kills me is the paper trail. 4 years of Northwestern payments, 2 years of MBA tuition at $68,000 per year. The extra money when she studied abroad in Barcelona. The security deposit for her first apartment that she thought came from her mom. The emergency dental surgery junior year when her insurance wouldn't cover it. The MacBook Pro for her design class. The car payment I took over when she said she was struggling. Meanwhile, I haven't been to a doctor in 6 years because I can't afford the copays. My teeth hurt when I eat anything cold. My glasses prescription is 3 years outdated. I haven't taken a vacation since 2011. My back hurts constantly from the warehouse work, but I can't take time off for physical therapy. I've been wearing the same 5 shirts for years, rotating them so it's not obvious. I haven't bought new shoes in 3 years. I make my own coffee at home in a pot I've had since college, because $5 a day at Starbucks adds up to $150 a month that could go toward Lexi's expenses. I live like this while she posts spring break photos from Cancun, weekend getaways to New York, shopping sprees with her friends, all with the caption, making memories with the best mom ever. Blessed. When Lexi got that internship at some fancy marketing firm in Chicago, Jenna called me saying Lexi needed a professional wardrobe. I sent $3,000 I didn't have. When Lexi posted pictures of her new clothes, she tagged her mom with, "Thanks for always coming through for me." My buddy Steve at work, another divorced dad, always tells me I'm being a sucker. My ex tried that shit with me, he says. I told her and the kids exactly what I was paying for. Made sure they knew. But I always thought that was cheap, you know? Like, you don't help your kids to get credit. You help them because they're your kids. But somewhere along the way, I didn't just become invisible. I became the villain in Jenna's story. The deadbeat. The guy who chose a new life over his daughter. The man who couldn't be bothered. Lexi was 12 when she asked me why I didn't love her enough to keep our family together. I was stunned, asked where she heard that. Mom says you left because you wanted freedom more than you wanted us, she said, like she was reciting something she'd heard 100 times. The truth? Jenna had been sleeping with Richard, her boss at the time, for over a year before she asked for the divorce. I found out, confronted her, and she turned it around on me. Said I was emotionally unavailable and married to my job. Said she had needs I wasn't meeting. Classic cheater's playbook. But you can't tell that to a 12-year-old. So I ate it, and Jenna fed her more lies year after year while I paid and paid and paid. The real kicker came last Christmas. I scraped together enough to get Lexi this vintage art book she'd mentioned wanting. It cost nearly $300, but I figured it was special. She posted a thank you to her Secret Santa on Instagram, thinking it came from one of her friends. When I texted her asking if she got my gift, she replied, "Oh yeah, thanks for the Amazon gift card." I never sent a gift card. Jenna had intercepted my gift, replaced the card with her own, and apparently used the gift card story to cover it up. I still have the receipt for that book. I keep it in my wallet, a reminder of, I don't know what exactly. My own stupidity, maybe. Last year, Lexi's car broke down. She needed $2,800 for repairs. Jenna called me, same old story. I transferred the money that day. 2 weeks later, Lexi posts on Facebook, "Best mom and stepdad ever. Can't believe they surprised me by fixing my car. Blessed Tucker family first." Each time I told myself it didn't matter who got the credit, that I was doing it for Lexi, not for thanks. That one day she'd understand. But sitting in that steakhouse, listening to her toast, something finally broke inside me. I remember the day she was born, holding her tiny body against my chest, promising I would always take care of her, always protect her. I remember teaching her to ride a bike, catching her when she fell. I remember staying up all night when she had ear infections, holding cool washcloths to her forehead when she had fevers. I remember all of it, but somehow none of that exists in her version of our story. So there I am, sitting at this fancy steakhouse, listening to my daughter basically call me a deadbeat in front of everyone. And something just breaks. I don't yell. I don't make a scene. I just laugh. One short, dry laugh that makes everyone at the table freeze. "Congratulations," I say, standing up. I pull out my wallet and drop 5 $100 bills on the table. "That should cover my part of dinner, and it's the last money you'll ever get from me." Lexi looks confused. "What are you talking about?" "Ask your mother," I say, making eye contact with Jenna, who suddenly looks very pale. "Ask her where your tuition money really came from. Ask her who paid your rent last month. Ask her who bought your car." Mike stands up with me, places his hand on my shoulder. "Been a long time coming, bro," he says quietly. "You don't know what you're talking about," Jenna hisses. "Don't make a scene." I'm not making a scene. I'm just done. I look at Lexi one more time. "Congrats on the MBA. Hope it was worth it." Richard half stands, like he's going to say something, then sits back down when I glare at him. Tyler is staring at his plate, suddenly very interested in his half-eaten steak. I walk out, my brother following close behind. In the parking lot, Mike says, "You okay, man?" "No," I tell him. "But I'm about to be." When I get into my truck, my hands are shaking so bad I can barely get the key in the ignition. 20 years of suppressed anger, hurt, and resentment are finally breaking through the surface. I feel like I can't breathe. But at the same time, there's this weight lifting off my chest. Mike follows me home in his car. Once we're inside, he asks, "What's the plan now?" "Nuclear option," I tell him. And for the first time in years, I smile a real smile. You know that moment in action movies where the quiet, unassuming guy finally snaps, and you realize he's been a badass all along? That's how I felt. Not violent, just resolute. like I'd finally found my spine after 2 decades of being bent over backward. Mike opens my fridge, grabs 2 cans of soda, hands me one. You know they're going to come at you hard, right? Jenna's not going to let this go. Let her come, I say. I've got the receipts. Literally. What about Lexi? You okay with her hating you even more? That question stings. Because despite everything, I still love my daughter. She already thinks I'm a deadbeat. Might as well show her what life without a deadbeat looks like. Mike nods slowly. It's going to get ugly before it gets better. It's been ugly for 20 years, Mike. I've just been the only one feeling it. I go home, still in that suit, and open my laptop. I log into my bank account and look at the scheduled payments. $2,800 for Lexi's downtown Chicago apartment, $450 for her car payment, $350 for her phone bill, $750 for the credit card I gave her for emergencies only, that somehow always has charges from Sephora and SoulCycle. I cancel every single one. Then I log into the special account I set up when she started grad school, the one that automatically pays her tuition installments. The next payment of $22,500 is due in 3 days. I transfer every penny, all $67,500 remaining, into my personal account. For a moment, my finger hovers over the submit button. Am I really doing this? Then I think of Lexi's words at dinner. You don't get to show up now and pretend you contributed anything to my success. I click submit. Then I go one step further. I call my life insurance company and remove her as a beneficiary. I'd been paying $275 a month for a $500,000 policy with her as the sole beneficiary. I change it to my brother's kids instead. Then I call Steve, who works part-time as a cybersecurity consultant. Remember that thing you offered to help me with? I ask him. I'm ready. You sure, man? He asks. No going back once we do this. I'm sure. Time for the truth. Next morning, Steve comes over with his laptop. Within an hour, he's given me access to all the emails between Jenna and Lexi over the years. Turns out Jenna's been using the same password since 2010. What I find makes my blood boil. Emails where Jenna explicitly takes credit for payments I made. Messages where she calls me selfish and unreliable. A conversation from just last month where Lexi asks about her tuition payment and Jenna writes, "Don't worry, honey. Richard and I have it covered like always. Your father's too busy with his own life to worry about your education." There's an email from 3 years ago where Lexi wanted to invite me to her college graduation. Jenna wrote back, "He probably won't come anyway. He never does. Remember your high school graduation? Let's just invite people who actually care." Another email from Jenna to Richard that was accidentally CC'd to Lexi. "Just got another payment from Mark. God, it's the least he can do after walking out on us. Don't tell Lexi. Let her keep thinking we're handling everything. It's better that way." I find an entire folder in Jenna's email labeled Mark's Support, with spreadsheets tracking every payment I've made, alongside notes about how to explain each expense to Lexi. There are even draft messages for Richard to use when taking credit for large purchases I funded. One email from Jenna to her sister made me particularly sick. Mark thinks one day Lexi will figure out he's been bankrolling her life, but I've made sure she'll never know. As far as she's concerned, he's just the deadbeat who shows up occasionally with a $50 check. Meanwhile, Richard gets to play hero with Mark's money. It's actually kind of perfect. I print out every damning email, every bank statement showing my payments, every transfer, every sacrifice, every lie. I organize it all in a folder labeled The Truth. Then I draft a simple letter. For 20 years, I've supported you silently while your mother poisoned you against me. Every tuition payment, every rent check, every car payment, that was me. Not scholarships, not your mother, not Richard, me. Working 70-hour weeks, destroying my health, sacrificing everything. I'm done being your ATM. I'm done being the villain in a story Jenna wrote. Starting today, you're on your own. Earn your own way, pay your own bills, be an adult. All payments have been canceled. All accounts closed. This is what you wanted. A life without your father in it. Congratulations. P.S. Attached is proof of everything I've paid for and every lie your mother told you. Believe it or don't, I no longer care. I seal it in an envelope, along with about 50 pages of proof, and drop it in the mail. Then I turn off my phone, take a vacation day from work, and go fishing with my brother and Steve. For the first time in 20 years, I don't think about Lexi or Jenna or money or bills. I just fish. Mike brings sandwiches and soda. Steve brings his portable radio. We don't talk much, just cast our lines into the lake and exist in comfortable silence. Around noon, Mike says, "You know they're going to freak out, right?" "Counting on it," I reply. "You think Lexi will understand? Or will she just hate you more?" I shrug. Either way, I'm done being a doormat. We stay out till sunset. For a moment, I feel guilty. Maybe I should have given her warning. Maybe I should have tried harder to tell her the truth over the years. Maybe this is too harsh. Then I remember watching her graduate college from the back row because Jenna forgot to save me a seat with the family. I remember sending flowers to her hospital room when she had her appendix out, only to have Jenna text me that Lexi didn't want visitors. I remember every missed birthday, every stolen moment, every lie. The guilt evaporates. That night, I sleep better than I have in years. It takes exactly 37 hours for my world to explode. When I finally turn my phone back on, there are 143 missed calls, 97 text messages, 28 voicemails, emails, Facebook messages, even a goddamn Instagram DM from Tyler asking what the hell is going on. The first voicemail is from Lexi, confused and angry. Dad, there's some mistake with my rent. The building manager says the payment was stopped. Call me back. The second, more panicked. Dad, please, I can't reach you. My car payment is overdue now too. What's happening? The 10th voicemail, she's crying. Please, Dad. I don't understand what's going on. Mom's freaking out. My tuition payment didn't go through. They're threatening to drop me from the program. The 20th voicemail is from Jenna. Mark, you vindictive asshole. How dare you do this to your daughter? After everything we've done for you? Call me back immediately. I listen to all of them, one by one, as I sit on my small back porch drinking a soda. My brother Mike comes over, sits next to me. They figure it out yet? He asks. Getting there, I say. Richard has left 3 voicemails, each more desperate than the last. The final one actually has him saying, Mark, please, let's talk about this like reasonable men. I'm sure we can work something out. Tyler's voicemail is my personal favorite. Hi sir, this is Tyler, Lexi's fiance. I was wondering if we could grab coffee or something. I'm sure this is all a big misunderstanding. Even Jenna's sister called. Mark, I don't know what Jenna did, but Lexi is devastated. Please call her back. I don't respond to any of them. Just wait. The package I sent should have arrived by now. Around noon, my doorbell rings. It's Jenna, looking like she's aged 10 years overnight. Her designer purse looks out of place on my worn-out front porch. You need to fix this, she says the moment I open the door. No, hello, no nothing. Fix what? I ask calmly. Don't play dumb. Lexi's tuition, her apartment, all of it. You're her father. Am I? That's not what she said at dinner. That's not what you've been telling her for 20 years. Jenna's face goes cold. So this is revenge? You're punishing our daughter because your feelings got hurt? Not revenge, just consequences, for both of you. Mark, be reasonable. She has 3 months left in her program. Her rent is due. Her car might get repossessed. Sounds like adult problems she needs to solve. Or maybe you and Richard can cover it. You've been taking credit for it all these years anyway. She chokes up, her voice cracking. We can't. Richard lost his job 6 months ago. The market's been bad. We're underwater on the house. The country club membership fees alone are killing us. We've been barely keeping up appearances. And there it is. The truth finally comes out. So all this time you've been taking credit for what I paid for while living beyond your means? And now you want me to bail you out again? Not for me, she says quickly. For Lexi. Lexi made it very clear how she feels about my contributions. She can figure it out. Jenna starts to cry. Real tears, not the manipulative kind I'd seen so many times before. Please, Mark. She won't be able to graduate. Not my problem anymore. Just as I'm about to close the door, I hear the sound of tires on gravel. Lexi's BMW pulls into my driveway, parking crooked in her hurry. She looks terrible. Hair a mess, eyes red and puffy. She rushes up to the porch, envelope in hand, my letter with all the evidence. Is this true? She demands, voice shaking. All of it? You paid for everything? Every penny, I say. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me over your mother? She looks at Jenna, who's staring at the ground now. Mom, is this true? Dad paid for Northwestern? For my MBA? For everything? Jenna nods slightly. He insisted on it, she says weakly, trying one last manipulation. He wanted it kept quiet. Bullshit, I say calmly. I have the emails, Jenna. I have the ones where you specifically take credit for my payments, where you call me worthless while cashing my checks. You hacked my email? She gasps, outraged, like that's the real crime here. Number you've been using the same password for 15 years. Maybe spend less on designer handbags and more on basic security. Lexi looks between us, the truth finally dawning on her face. Then she crumbles, literally sinks down onto my porch steps and starts sobbing. I didn't know, she keeps saying. I swear I didn't know. Now you do, I tell her. So what are you going to do about it? She looks up, mascara streaked down her face. I need your help, Dad. Please, I can't lose everything now. I'm so close to finishing. You told me I contributed nothing to your life, that I wasn't there for you, that I don't deserve to be part of your success. I was wrong, she whispers. I was so wrong.